Hello and welcome to livealittlehigher.com. Rosh Chodesh Tov. Tonight we begin the new month of Kislev, the 9th month of the Jewish calendar. And Kislev is a very, very powerful month. It's full of light and miracles and oil and fun. It's a fun month. So we see that the month of Kislev is a month in which we celebrate the miracle of the oil. It's the month in which we celebrate Hanukkah. And Hanukkah is the only month of the year that is celebrated between 2 months, between the month of Kislev and the month of Tevet. So we take the light of one month and we bring it into the new month of Tevet. So we see here that the first thing that Hashem did when he created the world, the first utterance that came out of his mouth was, "Let there be light." And this is the first thing that Hashem said in the book of Bereshit. And Kislev, which we know is a month of wisdom, of vision, of perspective, is a month of light. When we see that God said, "Let there be light," and there was light, what does light mean? What does really light mean? It's not the light bulb that is giving us light. It's not the sunlight that it's giving us light. This is not the light that God created the first day of creation. This first day of creation, Hashem created a spiritual light. It was a light that has the secret of our existence. He put it away for the times of the redemption, for the times of the Mashiach. And when Hanukkah comes, the mitzvah is to sit for half an hour, at least half an hour, and look at the lights of the menorah, to see the light burning. What does this have to do? It's a very strange thing. You cannot read by the menorah, you cannot do anything, you cannot take advantage of this light. You just have to sit and look at it. Why? Because it says, the Kabbalists teach us that the light of the first day of creation is contained within the lights of the menorah, of the lights of Hanukkah. And when we sit and we look at these lights, we are able to regain the vision that allows us to remember what is our whole purpose in this world. So light has always been the most favored metaphor of all forms of revelation. We speak of God's light, of divine light, of redemptive light. And as a physical light brightens the world, we go out into the street and it's dark and we see the flash bulbs, how do you call it, the light post, the lamps that are lit during the night so people won't fall down, so they can see where they're walking. So the light of godliness, is our spiritual awareness. So that light that God created the first day is really our inner light. It's the light that allows us to know who we are, why we're here, what's the purpose of our creation. And when we live with this awareness of this light, it helps us avoid the pitfalls of our journey. We won't fall so easily. It will allow us to stand straight and be able to live life with depth and with wholesome truth. So light represents truth, eternal values, the spiritual which transcends the mundane and the temporal. So it allows us to see that our life in this world is transient, it's temporal, we're not here to stay. There's a purpose for us in this world for the allotted years that we're here, and it's really part of the journey to bring Mashiach and to bring their redemption. So there's a story that is told of a very wealthy man, and he has 3 sons, and he's getting old, and he has to leave someone in charge of his business, and he doesn't know which of the 3 sons will be more apt to be the one that manages the business. So he devises a test, and he takes his three sons into a room. It's an empty room. It's completely empty, and he tells them to fill the room as best as they can. And so the first son got to work immediately. And he called bulldozers. They were builders. They used to build. And so he called the bulldozers, all the equipment they had, all the workmen, and he filled the room with earth. And by the end of the day, the father came, and that room was filled with earth from the floor to the ceiling and from one side to the next. And then the second son, it was cleared, the room was cleared. And then the second son, he was an accountant. He had many papers and many boxes and a lot of stuff with him. So he decided to fill the room with all the things he had accumulated for years, which he found no purpose at all for. And so he came at night and he brought the father to the room, and he showed him how the room was full of paper. Again, the room was cleared, and it was given to the third son. And the third son, look, he was a very relaxed type of guy, and he didn't seem that he gathered anything, and so he didn't do anything. And at nightfall they came to the room, and the room was pitch black. And the father said, what did you fill this room with? And so he said, wait one moment. And he took out of his pocket, he took out a match, and he turned on a candle, and then he put the candle in the room, and the room was filled with light. And so the father looked at the son, and he couldn't believe how imaginative and how intelligent this son was. So he said to him, you have the job. So some people fill their homes with earthiness and with lots of physical objects and possessions, with clutter, with their closets are all cluttered, their homes are all cluttered. And but in reality, they're empty and devoid of godliness. And then you see other people who love money, love paper, and they're always putting their money in the bonds and in the Wall Street, but they really don't have time for family or relationships. And so we see here that maybe he's a multimillionaire, but in reality, in his personal life, he's a very poor person. He's not a rich person. But a truly wise person, and this is what the father saw in this son, is that he understands how to fill the vacuum. When you have an empty place or you have an empty space within yourself, what do you fill it with? You fill it with stuff, you fill it with things that take your mind away from whatever void you have, or do you fill it with God? Do you fill it with light? And so, since the father saw that his son was intelligent and he was able to fill the space with light, which really represents the light of Torah, Shabbat candles, which illuminate the homes, the Jewish homes, and the values of the Torah and the teachings of the Torah and the hesed, the goodness, the kindness that you do, then he realized my business will be secure with this son, because he has his priorities where they have to be. So as we see and we begin this new month, we see that the light that should fill our lives is really the light that fills the vacuum, and it's a light of eternity, because the lights of the menorah are eternal lights. And as it says in Proverbs, the soul of man is a candle of God. 7 lights in the menorah represent the 7 levels of serving Hashem. We have 7 emotional attributes, or 7 sefirot from the 10 sefirot. There's 7 that are emotional, which are the way in which we relate to God and we emulate God. So we have Hesed, which is kindness, love and kindness. We have Gevura, which is discipline. You have Tiferet, which is beauty, harmony, bonding, beauty, harmony, and balance. You have Netzach, which is resilience, eternity. You have humility, Hod. You have Yesod, which is bonding, and you have Malchut, which is kingship. So the analogy, a candle is a commandment and the Torah is light, which is also from Proverbs. What it means is that the light of this month should bring us to the realization that our whole existence is a menorah made of gold, all gold. You know, the menorah that stood in the temple, which was the original menorah that the Maccabees lit after their struggles with the Hasmonean, was made of one block of gold. It was not many parts of gold. It was one piece of gold that was hammered to make the menorah. And what that means is that we all serve each other. All the lights look to the middle. And it also represents all types of Jews. We are all part of one menorah. We're all part of the same symphony. We all have to work together to be able to bring this light into the world. So a candelabra has two components. It has the light and the vessel, and we see that the light is the soul and the vessel is the body. And by raising the candle, we are not only revealing the soul in the body, but we clarify that the body is made to be a vessel for the soul. And this is the purpose of light, that we should all ignite our inner light, our inner spark, which is really, mamesh, a piece of Hashem. It's the godly neshama that is within us. It's there. It's permanently there. But sometimes we cover it and we cover it and we cover it with the world, with the news, with the fashion, with all these things that run our lives that make us nervous and anxious. But when we're able to tap into that essence, to that part of us, which is that fire that is always burning, and you're able to take out the dust, that light will shine through. And that is the whole purpose of us being here, to be a light lamper, to be someone that brings light to the world, that will reveal the presence of Hashem in this world. So I wish you, and I want to give you a bracha, that Hashem should help you ignite your light. There's a story of the Rebbe that someone came to him and asked him, Rebbe, what do you do all day? And he says, well, I help people find their switch. We all have a switch. We all have it, but we have to look for it and we have to turn it on. That is our job. We have to turn it on. No one can do it for us. And sometimes you have a teacher that teaches you and tells you, you have a switch. You have something very special in you. You have an inner light that the world needs. But then it's you and only you, the one that can turn it on. So you should be able to turn on your switch. You should be a person of love and of light to the world, which is what the world needs now more than ever. We need more loving people than ever. And in that way, the whole world will be at blaze. So remember, live a little higher. Thank you.